What's up guys, Chris here from Mainely Mesh, and today I am hanging out at the gorgeous Breck School in Minnesota. Looks a heck of a lot nicer than my college facilities did. So we're gonna be reviewing the whole line of Primo Lacrosse shafts. Primo is another super cool direct-to-consumer brand. You're going to be seeing more and more of these types of brands in the upcoming months and years. Basically, it's like we've talked about before. They don't sell in retailers. They sell direct to the consumer, direct to the buyer, and that allows them to cut out the middleman, cut out a lot of prices. You're seeing this everywhere now, and Primo is another one. They were kind enough to send me 4 different types of shafts and 2 of each of their carbon fiber options. So I am a happy boy. Basically, they offer a side tie metal, a kind of basic carbon fiber, a premium carbon fiber, and then an ash wood shaft. And they also have a really cool hand painted version of this if you're looking for more of a collector's edition for the wood sticks. I'm gonna take you through the tech specs before I actually get out to testing these bad boys, and then I will do a little shoot around so you can see how I like them. I'm gonna start with the lowest priced product. This is their 30-inch ash field lacrosse stick, so 30 inches. When I weighed this, it was like 230 grams. It's a wood lacrosse stick. That's about what you're gonna expect. Nice and beefy. They actually do a pretty good job with the grain lines, which in my experience is something pretty important. That's what Ripwood Lacrosse talks about a lot. You wanna have these grains as straight as possible, and the sample they sent me looks awesome. Really straight grains, should be super strong. Comes in at 15 buckaroos, 15 bucks, perfectly sustainable. Once you break it, use it for firewood. It doesn't seem treated at all. Just nice, straight, sharp edges. Very simply made, very effectively made, and 15 bucks. Can't complain with that at all. I already forgot the next price. Next up, we have their standard carbon fiber shaft for 40 buckaroos. This is a 12K weave. So a 12K is actually the same type of weave that you see on like the bottom of the Dragonfly shafts, pictured here. So it's a nice big fat carbon fiber weave. Interesting to see that they were able to pull that off for the whole stick. 12K weave is very expensive, depending on where you buy it. So this is one of those things where, you know, since it's painted all the way over, you can't really see the proof of the 12K weave. Gonna trust them on it. Basically, a 12K weave is a very stiff product, and the flex on this is pretty straightforward. Definitely a very stiff carbon fiber shaft. So what that means though is that they tend to not have as good of slash resistance. This guy was weighing in around 150 grams for me, which for a 12K weave, you know, that's definitely on the stronger end, but if you're a big hacker, one-handed slasher, might not do as well for you, which is why they made their carbon fiber 2 in the first place. That just tends to happen with 12K weave. It's part of why we saw some of the breakage of the Hyperlight series. That's a 9K weave, and why also in the old Dragonfly Gen 7 D poles, they had that smaller carbon fiber weave up top, which was a 3K weave that does a little better with slash resistance. Yeah, a lot of talk for a $40 carbon fiber shaft. If you are just getting into the market and want a pretty easy transition into carbon fiber, this is a great way to go, just because it is going to still be stiff and simulate kind of the same feel of an alloy shaft that you would usually get, but it is carbon fiber, won't bend on you. Pretty straightforward. Next step up in price, we have the Primo side ties. So this guy was weighing in without an end cap. I think it was either 160 or 165 grams. I weighed it earlier. I didn't bring my scale to the field. I apologize, but it's a nice beefy side tie. This thing should really last you well. This guy is 50 bucks, so that's a great price for a side tie. I think the Lax Room one is around 50 or 55, so they're pretty competitive as far as like kind of the beefier side ties go. If you're an alloy person, I would not be wasting your money on like an 135, 140 gram side tie shaft. That's gonna cost you like $120, because frankly at that weight, any metal is gonna snap on you. Much better off buying one of these bad boys, saving a lot of money, and this is actually gonna last you a lot longer. So yeah, it's like 160, 165, but whenever you're getting into those super light alloys, you're gonna have some breaks. The sidewall thickness is the biggest thing that's gonna affect the strength of a shaft, and you're just gonna want something a little bit sturdier. If you're staying in the alloy market, this is a great option. So that's that. And last but certainly not least, we have the Primo Carbon 2.0s. So these feature a slightly more rounded shape than their first generation. The first generation was a little bit more sharply cut. You probably wouldn't notice any difference. With gloves on, these guys come in at $55. $55. And these are said to feature an 18K weave. 18K is something I do not believe up until this point has been used in the lacrosse industry, so that would be an even fatter weave than the 12K, meaning it would have even better cross-check strength, but in theory even worse slash strength. That being said, this is a slightly heavier shaft, which means it'll be significantly stronger. I think it's in like the 160, 165 gram range compared to the 150 of the, voice crack, compared to the 150 of the Gen 1s. So this bad boy is gonna be a lot beefier, a lot stronger down the road, but also feature a really stiff profile. So this is another great option if you're looking to kind of transition from alloy to carbon fiber and you still want that stiff profile. That's the biggest difference between alloy and carbon fiber these days. It's just what the flex profiles are like, and a lot of these super light, stiff carbon fiber shafts don't last too well, just because that's the way carbon fiber works. It's hard to make a very durable, tough carbon fiber shaft as far as slash resistant goes in the stiff profile. It's a lot easier to make them nice and tough when they flex a little and absorb some of that impulse. But yeah, the Primo Carbon Fiber 2 coming in at $55. These are some great options. I believe they all come in black and white. The side tie, they only sent me a black one, so I don't want to get ahead of myself there. They might only sell that one in black. But like I said, they've got the $15 ash shaft. They also offer some cool stuff like a 32-inch box version for like $32 or $30 I should say, for the ash stuff. So they have a few goalie options as well, all in like that kind of $30 to $50 range. They also offer a 60-inch ash shaft for like $40 or something, which is really cool. You don't get to see too many of those. So if you really want to break some arms, you can grab one of those. Now let's get to field testing. Always got to warm up first. For those of you guys that are older than I am, is it really as bad as I think it's gonna be? Because I'm not trending in a good way. Here's how I'm gonna do this. I've got my Precool, I've got my Dragonfly box edition. It's a very stiff shaft. It's what I use for all my box games. And I'm gonna warm up and take a bunch of shots with this, try to kind of dial in the corner, and then we're gonna switch through each shaft, since they all should be a stiff profile shaft, and see how well they compare to this guy, just to get a sense of what the flex profile is like, what the weight's like, and we'll go from there. Should be pretty straightforward since they're all stiff shafts, but just want to see, gonna change them up. Okay, I'm pretty dialed in. Here's how stiff this shaft is. Pretty solid, okay? Let's switch them up. I'm gonna start with the Carbon 1, go to the Carbon 2, Scandium, not gonna test the wood, go from there. Okay, first negative note. This head, this shaft is super small. This head doesn't even come close to fitting on it. No bueno. So I'm using the same butt end from the other shaft, and honestly the butt end is loose too, so I'm hoping for better things out of the next ones. Here's the Primo 1.0. I put it on backwards. Judge me. Okay, so those shots were a little off. Honestly, most of that is just gonna be because of the angle. Look at this gap. See just how much of a space there is between the head and the shaft. That's gonna basically drop the lie back. My shots are gonna sail, and honestly, I don't wanna ruin this head, so I'm just gonna move on to the 2.0. Primo 2.0, ready to rock. So the 2.0 is still a little loose, but a lot better. Honestly, a little shooting string would fix it and shouldn't be a big issue, and probably would fit really well on those String King heads. I'm not getting any flex on this one. I like it. Well, guys, I like straight up tweaked something on my left hip. It's what happens when you don't stretch after playing a full box game and never drink enough water. Hashtag pro athlete. So yeah, I'm not gonna test the side tie. It's a very good metal shaft. Not gonna test the ash. Very straightforward ash, 15 bucks. Can't beat that price. Overall, I like this stuff a lot. As you can see, I would not recommend this Primo 1.0. Just because it doesn't seem to fit. Sometimes when you have product made in China, which I'm just assuming this is, you have some conversion issues in terms of like the width of the shaft and stuff. It just gets a little funky. That's why I think sometimes the String King is a little tighter than most. I mean, they have it dialed in pretty well, but yeah, that's kind of to be expected. The 2.0 felt great, much more solid shaft, so that's that $55 version. I'm embarrassed by how much I'm sweating. I'm embarrassed that I hurt myself. But I'm proud that I was able to bring you a review of the Primo Lacrosse shafts. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, ask any questions down below. Up next, as far as reviews go, I've got the Six Feathers Lacrosse autograph ball, and finally the Wolf Athletics U1 shaft review. Hopefully should be coming up next Sunday. Remember, vids every Sunday. I'm trying. Catch you guys next time.